I had Natty Weiler on my radio show, and then I got put onto you through him. The thing about you is that you don't hear a lot of old school sounding boom bap hip hop these days coming from the UK, and you very much have that spirit of sort of Jest, Skinny Man, and the lyricism.
Cause yo, I'm speaking for my peoples, I'm creeping in the night time. Me and mine's got that tight rhymes, punch letters like a tight right. Tiptoeing on that knife edge, better get your mind right. Name one thing in life that
But
fucks
yeah,
your
man,
mind.
how are you doing, bro?
Yeah, I'm good, Bob. Obviously, yeah, just lockdown is obviously a bit dry and that. It's a tough time for everyone and that, but trying to get on with things as much as I can really. It's been really good. Obviously, put Concrete Clouds out not too long ago. And yeah, the reception to that's been amazing. So yeah, just been working on new stuff really. Yeah, good man.
Obviously, lockdown's been tough for everyone, I guess. But how's it been for you?
Well, I mean, like first time round, yeah, it's not been great. It's not been a great year for anyone. Do you know what I mean? And it's been nice to be able to put a project out because it kind of gives this year for me like a little bit of a silver lining. But in terms of lockdown wise, yeah, just trying to get on with things really. Like
Yeah.
just same really for everyone. It's just caught in that cycle, being indoors all day isn't great. Being in the same place too much sometimes for me, like do you know what I mean? It kind of kills my creativity. It depends, but yeah, I felt that a little bit last lockdown.
But you were talking about your project, so do you want to tell me a
Yeah,
little bit about that?
yeah, Concrete Clouds is called.
Yeah.
So yeah, new EP, my second EP. Yeah, came out a few weeks back, and yeah, it's I'm really happy with it. It's something I've been working on for like the last year and a bit. It was finished quite basically towards the end of last year.
Yeah.
Glad to get it out. Obviously,
Yeah.
probably the first music I put out for a while, like
Yeah.
properly this running track. So yeah, very happy, man.
Yeah, it's sounding sick, and I really like the video for Alchemy as well. That was hard.
Big up the ESO Bureau. They directed that one. Jamie Ackroyd as well, and Post Films just backed it. And Asher as well. He proper put it down for me. So yeah, no, that was a fun video to do, man. I felt like we should do one for that track because it just had that vibe.
Do you want to tell me about what made that project for you? What caused it to happen?
I don't know really, like just making music and it just kind of like that's kind of how I approach projects. They just kind of come together like ideas wise, or at least they have in the past. And with that one, it was like a bunch of music that I've been working on, and out of that group, those tracks for me fitted together nicely into this concept of Concrete Clouds, and like just that idea of just like being so governed by where you grow up and the like environment around you. Do you know what I'm saying? And like I've always found that interesting because I think the type of music that like say we make here in the UK is different to like some other places, and I think the environment is a huge part of it. Like I always thought there's a big difference between East and West Coast rap. Do you know what I mean? It's like what's around you massively influences what you create. And if you're growing up in the grey skies half the year, that's going to influence your psychological, do you know what I mean, and how you create. But if you're always in the sun and the beach, it's going to be different, you know what I mean? So that was a kind of a little bit of behind the concept of Concrete Clouds. But yeah, it's nice. It's like it ties into my first project. It's another 8-track EP, and like it for me, it kind of carries on that aesthetic. So yeah, that was the kind of idea behind it.
I really like that name because you've got the
Thank you, bro.
nature and then the concrete. Your music comes out of that environment, but it also contrasts with that environment because it's got a very kind of beautiful sound. Do you know what I mean? It feels pure.
I appreciate that one. Thank you.
You
Glad
feel like that gives you a silver lining to your.
to my ear. Yeah, you know
Yeah.
what, man? Like it's been because it just feels like for me, I hadn't really put out any music for a while, so it was nice to get back to putting out, and I've got so much stuff that I'm working on that it felt like kind of restarting the engine a little bit.
Mm.
Which is nice, and I mean, hopefully, some point soon, everything will clear up and we'll be able to go do this live and like be able to actually. I mean, that's the only disappointment with it is not being able to like have like a listening party, have people come and experience it with people. Do you know what I mean? That's the only downer. But like at the same time, all the responses I've been getting online and messages people sending me is like it's really nice and it's very motivating. Do you know what I mean? Very motivating.
Yeah. So where are you from?
So originally like I born and raised in Finsbury Park in North London.
Okay.
Yeah, and obviously around that because of where family lived, etc. I spent a lot of time in Dalston, Stoke Newton,
Yeah.
mainly, and then Highbury. But then obviously went to school in Camden Way, so yeah, spent a lot of time there. So yeah, but mainly I'm from Finsbury Park, man.
That's near me. Growing up there, yeah. What was that like for you?
I love Finsbury Park, innit? I'm Arsenal fan, so I'm right next to the stadium, literally like a road
The
away.
same.
Yeah, I loved it. I've always got a mad love for the area. Like I'm not living there at the moment, but that's just like circumstance. You know what I mean? I have love for that area, bro.
What I was saying before, you make music which is very different to what you'd expect from someone from London. Like off the top of my
Yeah,
head, I can't think of many people right now that are making boom bap type music, and that's why
yeah,
I really, really
yeah. I mean,
appreciate what you do.
yeah. I mean, that's the thing though. Is like I only like the thing about music is like yeah. Okay, so like up until now, I've definitely because I would be massively influenced by like hip hop. Do you know what I'm saying? And not just grime and things like that from London. But obviously, that's as big an influence on me as well. Like growing up in Finsbury Park, I used to run around doing grand clashes when I was younger, and like it's always been a big part of it. And like I'm pretty much open to all rap. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just as long as it's good, like. And like I'm not really tied to making one particular style of rap for any reason. It's just basically like just how like where I'm at that time creatively. And yeah, people like Jess, Skinny Man, Kalashnikov, all massive influences. By the same listening to Kano Gets all these kind of guys as well. And so all of that kind of mashed together into like what you're hearing now. And all the stuff I've got, it's got quite a lot of range to the new stuff as well. So it's
Yeah,
exciting, man.
you do have a range of styles. Like running with the wolves was a lot faster.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Um,
I mean that's basically like 135, 140. That's basically grind tempo. It's just
yeah,
sounds like hip hop because of the style of drums that we use. You
yeah.
know what I mean?
But I kind
So yeah,
of
man, it's cool.
I feel like people that do grime and then do hip hop, that you can notice uh, that they can't really do it because it's like they've got a kind of like certain like the end of the lyrics don't sound right and it sounds too kind of forced.
Yeah.
But I feel like doing hip hop, like personally, I first started doing hip hop, and I feel like that's given me a very solid base to then go on to do faster tempos.
Okay. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I say yeah, that's interesting because like yeah, it's interesting to say that because I mean I feel like it all kind of for me just run concurrently because like I say we would go from listening to Jess to listening to old grime sets. You know what I mean? And like
Yeah,
and so like I think that's always been tied in. I've always been a big fan of like UK rap in general because I think like I think when it comes down to like lyricism, some of the best lyricism ever in the world, like it's here. And like, obviously you've got people in America that are just like top draw out of this world. Don't get me wrong, but overall, I just like I think lyrically, this we've got a lot to offer in the UK, and like it's only growing, but like the last 5 to 10 years has been crazy, and it's only getting bigger. So yeah, it's an exciting time to be in it.
I completely agree that the strongest lyrics I feel like tend to come from the UK. Um,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
so you were saying that you started off doing grime clashes.
Well, yeah, man. Like I say, like I used to like mess around with that at school and do things like I remember like a few of us used to do that at school and like just clash each other in a play and things like. And then obviously at the same time as all of that, like I'm messing around with my boy LC and he was making beats on his MPC and we were going and sampling old records. And then like I'll be at my other pal's house and we'd be on like Fruity Loops and I make little beats and that. So it all kind of ran together. So like that's one thing I think is always like because I'm just like a fan of like writing and rapping like music in general. So like it's nice that like I think at this point in time with the internet and with the way music's gone is you can do what you want creatively. Do you know what I'm saying? You don't have to go and get signed and be a particular type of artist that the label wants you to be. You can jump around and do what you want if you know what I'm saying. So that's like one thing that excites me because otherwise like if I don't want to keep doing the same thing. It just doesn't. I just end up going the same kind of beats, the same kind of music. You just end up going down the same paths, like, and nothing new comes from it. So, yeah, man, I'm just trying to keep pushing and do things that excite me. There.
Yeah. So how would you say your style switched up from the Midnight Express to?
Yeah, I think like they're probably quite similar in a lot of aspects. Like, I don't think it's necessarily a huge shift. It's just like an attempt to find new things that excite me, and I think the sound of Concrete Clouds, like I learned so much from doing the first project, Midnight Express, and like um I learned not as much as what to do, if you know what I'm saying. And
What
like being
what
able
did
to
you learn?
like just learning about the sonics and understanding the process of how to fit a song together and arrange it and mix and master it properly to kind of make sure that what you had, the vision you had in your head is exactly what comes out. Do you know what I'm saying? And sometimes that's the hardest thing to do, and it requires a lot of skill and expertise. So like I spent the last couple of years working with a lot of different producers and mix engineers and trying to understand more how to make my sound better. And then when I finished Concrete Clouds and like put them side by side, I felt very satisfied with the growth of the sound. You know what I mean?
What was your sort of like transition from clashing your friends in the playground to then actually being serious about it?
To be honest, like I don't know, like I remember being, yeah, like I say, what probably was about 14 when I started showing people bars and like clashing people in the playground and like messing around like with the idea of rapping. But obviously, I used to play a lot of football when I was younger. Like it wasn't nowhere. It was just like something I enjoyed doing because I loved rap and loved listening to music. Um, and I just kind of kept doing it. And then like, on the side, I was like doing all this rap stuff. And then on the side, I used to go and compete in like slams and shit, like the spoken word things. And I was just basically going there with like deconstructed bars, if you know what I mean, with no beat and just performing. And like so, and I always really enjoyed that because, like I say, like it's not just like rap and hip hop and all that kind of thing that I'm into. It's just like I love seeing people who are sick at their craft, like who just like are amazing at what they do. It doesn't matter if they're like a rapper or a pianist. You know what I'm saying? That's what gets me going creatively. So doing that kind of spoken word slam stuff was I think really good for me because I just saw, so I just at the time I was around, there's so many amazing people that you could watch and observe, and like that was definitely good. But for me, mainly it was just sitting and just studying rap and like music and just getting addicted to rap like and rapping and writing. And once that happened, it was never serious in the sense of like, oh, I'm gonna do this. It was just like I think I want to do with my time. And it wasn't until like a few years back when opportunities came up that it was like, oh right, like oh shit, this could actually be a thing. You know what I mean?
What sort of opportunities were arising for you?
I've been making music and putting tracks out on SoundCloud and like playing shows like little gigs and that and stuff like that. I'm playing on bills. But then like I think for like a couple of years between I'd say about 18 and 20, like I wasn't really putting anything out. I was making loads of music in my spare time, like writing a lot. But I wasn't really like doing anything with it. And it wasn't until I was about like 19, 20 and I started putting out more stuff again on SoundCloud. And then it was just after like a couple of years after that was when I started that was when I first went and did the Lil Kana tour, and then like a couple months later opened for Jest on tour. And then after that summer I put out Midnight Express. And so that whole year, that whole kind of year and a half was quite just all kind of it just fell into place because I'd finished the project and I kind of the last couple of years been taking it more seriously. But like it wasn't until doing that it really cemented to me that this is what I want to do. Like, do you know what I'm saying? As much as we're having fun, like looking back to what we was doing when we were like 17, like me and Natty like used to be an old little crew together back when we were like 16, 17 or something. And like do it like all of that kind of stuff is still there's still videos out on the internet and like people were hearing us and we were played a couple of festivals and like little things and a couple headline shows and things like that, small stuff like, but like it just the way things work is like for like a year and a bit for me, like life was mad in a way and some music was a little bit pushed to the side. And then it wasn't until I was able to kind of refocus again. And then all of a sudden I had these mad opportunities and I was like, it was just, yeah, it was amazing. So it probably kick-started me again.
You were drawn to music from the beginning, yeah? But what is it about music or rap that you were drawn to or that you like?
I don't know, you know, I just like always be my family, like my mum and dad always love a lot of music, like play a lot of records in the yard and like a lot of old like soul and funk and jazz and shit like that and all sorts like quite eclectic stuff. But then I kind of just, you know, like I think I don't know what age I was, maybe like 8 or something, maybe a bit younger, 7, 8. That's when I first started like hearing rapping and I just don't know, it just clicked for me. I just bare enjoyed it. It's like I enjoyed trying to like memorize it, and like then when memorizing it, you kind of start clocking how mad it is. You know what I mean? I was like, oh shit, this is mad. And so I'm messing around with myself, kind of thing. But yeah, just listening to people really and just hearing that kind of music and being into it. Yeah, there's moments along the way, like I remember being about like, I don't know, man, 12, 13, maybe a bit younger, 11, 12, and being shown some of this like more old school hip hop stuff. Like that was my first introduction to like the Roots and the Mos Defs and the Talib Kweli's and all that kind of stuff. And then from there, at the same time, I was listening to like 50 Cent and Jay-Z and Eminem and like the Neptunes and shit like that. Well, I don't think there's anything in particular that draws me to it. I just love it, and I enjoy the like challenge of building bars. You know what I mean?
As a writer myself, I find it very interesting to hear about people's creative processes. So
Yeah, yeah.
what are you inspired by, and how does that process happen?
You know what, man? Like, it's hard to pin down to articulate because it's a very fluid and changing thing, and it's impossible to predict. Like the amount of times I've wanted to sit down and write something and then just not being able to write anything that day, and then other days it's just like boom, 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 and it just comes completely naturally. I think the key for me in terms of creative process is like lifestyle. Like I don't think it's like for me like a particular way of workflow or anything like that. It's just I know that if I am eating well, sleeping well, exercising well, not smoke too much and that like all that kind of thing.
It's interesting that you say not to smoke too much as well. Do you think that
But
affects
yeah,
negatively?
yeah. I mean, like I don't think it's. I mean, like each to their own, innit? Like anything in this world, it's like how does it affect you? How do you use things? How do you do stuff? Like personally, like it doesn't necessarily help a lot of the time. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's something I try and do a lot less at the moment. You know, it's like I just try and be as basically just put myself in the right mindset because you can't predict what you're gonna write. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just being putting yourself in the right place so that when you sit down and you do write or you hear that beat that just like, oh shit, I like that and something clicks, you're able to. I like to do different things. Like I like to sit with a producer and build the beat all the way from start to finish with them. Sometimes I go and get beats off of producers and go and do things myself. Do you know what I'm saying? Like there is definitely like a variety of ways to get to the end goal of like finishing the track. Just whatever feels right.
What's in store for the future?
Well, that's the good question, man. Like, I've been like proper like re-energized with like putting this new project out. So I feel like I've got a lot of music that I'm making at the moment. So I'm just getting everything ready for the next year, basically, and all the just finishing up all this music to be able to put out. We'll see. I'm just gonna keep working and like enjoying making music. Do you know what I mean? Because the moment you stop doing that, then that's it really. I think game over.
How did it feel when you opened for Jest as well? Because that's crazy.
Jess best man. Like open from a tour. Like he was on Midnight Express. We did a track, me, him, and Confucius MC, and like that was amazing for me. Like a proper bucket list thing. You know what I mean? I like Jess is a big influence on me. Um, yeah, like we've like you know what I mean. Like we speak very regularly. Like we're working on stuff at the moment. Like we've got some tracks that are like still in the pipeline, and we want to try and work on. And opening for him was crazy because it just felt like wow, like because I obviously spent so much time when younger listening to his music and then being able to actually open up for him was sick. It was a proper fun tour, like Jazz T on the decks. Like, it was some legendary shit. Like it was a blessing to be a part of it, man. And yeah, we got stuff to do, man. We've definitely got stuff to do, Jeff. Me and Jess.
I've banged his tunes as well. I really like
Of course, man.
old school UK hip hop.
Your Task Force and your Kalashnikov and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, man.
And your EPs. Yeah. The big up to them, man. Like that's the thing for me because like obviously I come out the first thing I listened to would have been like US hip hop back in the day, and then grime and that kind of came at the same time as hearing this older like UK hip hop stuff. Do you know what I mean? So like I was listening to kind of both at the same time, and because I loved the lyricism of it, like the lyricism and shit was just I like just differently like what you're hearing in grime and everything like that for me. But then there's things that grime and that whatever like UK rap, so to speak, that could do that like UK hip hop couldn't. So it's tough, but them man are definitely a massive influence on me, and you can see like what they did to music So you've got things like High Focus, Blah Records. All of that for me is like a descendant from that time. Those kind of people, the Rodney P's and all of them kind of cats, the Roots Maneuver and that. So yeah, it's a sick scene of rappers. And someone like Jest and them guys like he's one of the best rappers this country ever had. Like,
Jess has been a massive influence on me as well. His lyricism is just, I honestly think he's one of the best lyricists in the world.
Yeah, it's just different levels of him. Like, it's just the way he approaches writing is just like.
What's your favorite moments doing music so far?
Well, like first and foremost, like putting Midnight Express out and having two projects out now for me feels like being able to come up and create with like two different things like that for me. It fills me with confidence that I'll be able to do more in the future. So I think that's the big moment. Like when I launched Midnight Express and we did a show at what was Birthdays in Dalston. I don't know if you remember, that place is gone now. But yeah, we sold it out and it was just one of the best nights of my life. But like beyond that, like opening up for Loyal, opening up for Jest, we opened up for Frankie Stew and Harvey Gunn a couple of times. And then Barney, like doing these tours with these guys, it just was that stuff was proper amazing. But to be honest, I can't really whittle it down to one, man. It's just like it's hitting these milestones that you kind of like I dreamed about when I was young. And that dream is a bit cheesy, but like you kind of fantasize and imagine like, oh, what if I could play my music to da-da-da, or imagine playing these shows, and then getting to that point, I felt like I had to like, enjoy it and be like, wow, this is a milestone. Now you've got to set new ones, and like, I'm gonna try and do bigger things, even better things. But like, there's a time to kind of sit back and in the moment of it, and like those kind of moments to me, the shows, the tours, they're the moments for me. Like, I love recording music, and I like being in the studio and creating music is, it's as fun. And when you get it right though, when you get it right and you hit that right take, or you get that right in the studio, you get a mad buzz from that. Don't get me wrong, but there's like an adrenaline thing with performing. It's a bit like it's addictive. Do you know what I mean? It's like I always just find it crazy that like you created something. You know what I mean? You inside your bedroom and this idea you had, and then you take it to this place and people paying to see it. Do you know what I'm saying? And like enjoying it. And obviously, as long as you're doing well, I've done some shit gigs in my time where I've fucking not performed very well at all. Like, do you know what I mean? But when it goes, and everyone's feeling you, and like everything's going off, and it's quite an unrivaled feeling. Do you know what I mean?
There's always shit ones though.
Like anything, bro. You have a shit day at work, like where you're not at it. Like, bruv, sports people, you know what I'm saying? Like one day they're just not there that day. So like you just got, that's again, it all comes down to like focus. I think that the times when I've like not done my best gigs is when I've lost focus or something during my set. Do you know what I mean? And not giving it, or just not giving it quite all I want. Or the other one is just sound. Do you know what I mean? If you don't get the sound right, it could just be horrible when you're up on stage. Especially with rap, bro, because with rap, like you need to hear the bars. It just becomes so difficult to watch live. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I jumped on the mic, and it was like the worst thing that I've ever fucking done. Everyone was pinging.
Oh, really?
And they all wanted drum and bass, and I was like, it was actually very embarrassing.
Those things are so crucial, though. Like, I honestly like bombing on stage is just like, it helps so much because part of the nerves and the fear. Yeah, part of the nerves and fear is the fear of like failure on stage. And once you fail on stage and realize it's not that deep, then it massively helped me with like my like pre-show nerves and shit like that.
Yeah, because it makes it into reality, and reality is never as bad as what you imagine it.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. It could, like, obviously I say this touching wood, like how bad can it go? Do you know what I mean? Like how bad can it really go? And that's what you got to kind of remember. But I do enjoy it though. But yeah, so you're up in Manny. I saw that you're doing some craziness trying to fence up all of them halls.
Yeah. They put fences.
They're mutiny with the students and that. Bro. I would have been like, fuck that, bro. No way. Like.
But not even fences isn't even the deepest thing they've done, man. Like it's been proper mad here. The fences were nothing,
Really.
man. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Well, yeah. It's a lot of. I mean, yeah. Fuck, it's mad time, but that's quite mad time to be at uni, isn't it?
But yeah, man, I think that's it. It was proper sick to talk to you. I've been banging your
Well,
tunes
look, man.
for a long time, bro.
Well, look, but I appreciate that. And like, any time in the like, I'm from now. I've got a whole bunch of new music that I'm working on and I'll be putting out, and this project as well. Anytime I'm down to do whatever. We can go on the radio. We can do Zoom podcast, whatever. I'm easy. You know?
Thank
So you
you,
just give me
man.
a shout and let
I
me
really
know, bro.
appreciate that.